good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Survive and Thrive webinar campaign that we're doing. Today I have a webinar where I'm actually partnering with a wonderful person. His name is Mark Sade from MKS Group, who are our accountants, and we've got a webinar that's jam-packed full of exciting things for you today. So our webinar is being recorded. It's all about business post COVID-19, and I think that's the way we've got to start thinking. We've got to start thinking about the way that what's going to happen as we come out of this COVID-19 situation. And already there are signs of people going, things getting back to some sort of norm, but we don't know what norm is yet. So we hope that you really enjoy this webinar that we're hosting for you today. I will go through some housekeeping in a minute, but our agenda for our webinar is this. Number one is the value of supporting your customers by having good insight. Our webinar is jam-packed full of information, and I will go through this with Mark Sade. So let's start off with our webinar, and I'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So first of all, what we've got here is you're looking at the tool for the webinar housekeeping. Everyone will be on muted, so they'll be only in listen-only mode. Everything will be fully recorded. You will receive a copy from the webinar 24 hours after the webinar is completed, and we're very excited that this webinar is in a partnership that I'm doing, as I said, with Mark Sade from MKS Group. So one of the things that we'd like to acknowledge is, first of all, is Mark, who's about to join us on this webinar. So Mark, introduce yourself from MKS Group, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Colin, and thank you so much for inviting us. Your Survive and Thrive campaign has been absolutely magnificent. The work you've been putting in has been sensational. So thank you on behalf of myself, my team, and my clients. So Mark Sade, MKS Group, we're accountants in Moonee Ponds. And you know, like Colin, we are trying to get our clients on track and get them focused on their business and today is all about what is business going to look like after this COVID pandemic is over. So looking forward to sharing some insights and also learning, as I always do, from Colin. So thank you.
And I think, Mark, what's really, really good is we're both directors, we're both business owners, we both employ staff, and we're doing just as much as what everyone else is doing out there, trying to survive and thrive ourselves through these pandemic times. So I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, before we get started, I just want to acknowledge, because Mark, you've done a few webinars yourself, you know, and last Thursday night I looked at a webinar, I went through a webinar you did where you actually announced, because the City of Moonee Valley do like our businesses. They're very good at promoting us out. They're very good at recommending our services to the residents or the business residents of City of Moonee Valley. But can you just take us through what the government grant was all about?
Yep, no worries. So last Thursday night I ran a webinar on behalf of the City of Moonee Valley. They asked me to come up with some ideas of what we can do to help businesses within our community, and that's what we're all about. We're all about helping and working within our community, and thankfully the people of the council are on the same wavelength as us. And you're right, you know, they come to both of us to help them with different events and different webinars and help for the local businesses. Last Thursday was the day after they opened applications for their, what they call the COVID-19 recovery grants. There's two types of grants that are available, and I urge every business owner in the City of Moonee Valley to try and apply for one of these two grants. The first one is adapting to the changing needs, and that's something that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later on, and that is thinking outside the box. Yeah, so council are now going to help business owners in funding that thinking outside the box. So stay tuned for that one. It's available to any business owner who's got less than 50 full-time equivalent employees. That's what FTE means. It's full-time equivalent. So if you've got 100 people working half-time, that's 50, all right? So you can do your own numbers on that one. It's available to sole traders. You don't need to have employees. It's available to social enterprises. So if you're out there with a community enterprise in that's classified as a social enterprise, you're eligible to apply as well. And the local traders associations. So there's quite a number within the city of Moonee Valley. I know I'm part of the Moonee Ponds Retail Traders Association and the Moonee Ponds Ratepayers Association. So we will also be getting or applying for grants on that behalf as well. So you can do it, you can apply for, transforming your business from being a shop front to going online or being a drive-through service, also business collaboration. So we could look at potentially, key business advisors and MKS group combining to share some resources, and we could be eligible for a grant as well. So there's quite a few different grants available. There's a website which is on your screen right now dedicated to these COVID-19 recovery grants, and both key business advisors and MKS can help you in getting those grants applied for. So we'll be here to answer your questions later on. But I think that's enough for now, Cole. I'll talk a bit more about the grants later in the webinar.
Yeah, and for those people who are not part of the City of Moonee Valley that are on this webinar, then we encourage you to go and have a look at your local council and the Enterprise Connect group and just see if what they've got available. Not only do we love doing webinars for the City of Moonee Valley, they also host a series of other webinars as well, and there are other companies out there, but one in particular, which I think I really want to promote, is the one that I've got for tomorrow, which is on the from 1 till 4. And this is all about grant writing online workshop. It's an online workshop about grant writing. So this absolutely supports what we've just spoken about there. And I know my wife, Lorraine, has actually done this course with the City of Moonee Valley, and she's really excited about getting on tomorrow and doing a refresher course as well. So I think that'll all come really, really in handy. Okay, so let's get into it. So the topic 1, this is what I'm going to go through. So I think getting through these challenging times with all the confusion, and there is a lot of confusion out there in the marketplace of what to do, and we'll go through this throughout the webinar. But for me, I think, I'm really passionate about this, and that is the value of seeking the right advice to keep you in business. And I think, some of my key points that I'll just go through is, just that importance of getting the right advice from the industry professionals. Now, one of the things that I've seen is, we've seen that people are, industry professionals that are giving advice, and if I use the words jumping lanes, right? So they're not staying in the lane of what their core business is. And I think, that for myself and the HR team that, works with us and the work that we do, JobKeeper is a really good example. So I did not want my team giving advice on how to get JobKeeper, or more importantly, are you eligible for JobKeeper? Because that's not our skill level. Our skill level is to go and give the advice on how to have conversations with your staff, how to document things from a HR perspective. So we've always pushed our clients through this COVID-19 to go back to your accountant, who is the person that lodges your BAS. To me, it's very logical, and the person that submits everything for you. They should be the professionals that tell you that you're eligible or not eligible. And Mark, I'm just going to throw it over to you. I know that we work very closely together, but that's, what have you seen?
What we've seen, Colin, is you're 100% right. What you're saying is we're finding a lot of people are trying to go out there and get all this done themselves, and it is complicated and it's changing. The more employees you've got, the more complicated this whole scenario becomes. And what we're finding is the clients are out there trying to do this themselves, and they're getting it wrong. Then they come to us to try and fix it. Right? If we have to fix it for them, it takes 3 times as long to fix it, because you've got to get on the phone with the ATO, and that's bad at the best of times. Right now, it's absolutely impossible. It's a minimum of an hour to an hour and a half on hold to try and fix one small mistake, and time is money.
Time is money. And I think, look, that's the thing about, where you're seeking your advice from, and for me, that's really, really important, Okay, so if we think about this, right? So you need to think about who has the liability in giving you this advice. So if you have an industry professional that are giving, for an example, advice that's not their core business, which they shouldn't be doing anyway, and you go and follow that, then that can be really, really damaging. So I think it's important that again, to the people who are on this webinar, when you think about who's your team, I need to get advice from anything to do with people management or this from a HR, professional HR body, whether it be a body out there or us. You got to get that advice. If it's legal advice,
Absolutely.
you get legal advice. If it's accountancy advice, you get accountancy advice.
Yep,
I think
100%.
you need to think about, yeah, what happens when things go wrong? So, you know, will they be there to support you? So, and I already know somebody where they've read something that's been published out on social media. I need to go and do this, and they've done it. And again, it's wrong. So all of a sudden, that's going to be, and I'll give an example shortly, and that's going to cost that business big time. And which is my next point. What will it cost you and your business to fix mistakes? So I think I'm really passionate about engaging the professionals that can help take the emotion out of that decision making. So you know, we're getting, you know, once COVID's hit and we really got into the working from home strategy, so many companies made very quick decisions, didn't wait, and now they're paying some of the price of that. And you know, we certainly have seen that with some of our clients. So that's why I guess you could say we're here to help, and that's why I think this webinar that, you know, Mark and I planned, this would have been 7 weeks ago, because this is our 7th Survive and Thrive webinar. So 7 weeks ago, we planned this thinking that, you know, and having good foresight that around this time, things will start to settle down and hopefully people will ready to get back on track. So I think it's really important about putting the necessary things in place that will get you back on track. So, you know, for an example, and this is my point, you know, be on top of your JobKeeper. So for those who qualify. Now, Mark, not everyone qualifies. Am I right with that?
Yeah, spot on, Colin. To qualify for JobKeeper, I mean, it's been plastered over the media, the webinars, the papers, all over the place. You need to have satisfied a reduction in your turnover of at least 30%. Now, which month is it? Or which quarter is it? That's the complicated calculation. So it started off that if you suffered in March, you're eligible straight away. Then they extended it to April. Now it's going to be for the quarter ended 30 June. So there's a number of different calculation methods that you can use. So if you're just going to use your March numbers and say, well, my March was equivalent to last year's March, well, maybe you don't qualify in March, but maybe you will qualify later on. So not everybody qualifies, and it's important that you do, because if you apply for JobKeeper, the ATO will pay you the money, but the minute you are audited, and it's not a matter of if you're audited, it's a matter of when, because everybody who receives the JobKeeper is a target for audit. And if you're found to have applied incorrectly, every cent will have to be repaid, and you will not, I repeat, you will not be able to recover this amount of money from your employees. So
I've got a really good case. Yeah, I've got a really good case study which I'll go into, which is my next point. Like, you need to get your HR compliance right to make sure you're having the right conversations. If you're going to step people down, or you're going to ask them to do, you know, take annual leave or long service leave, you just got to make sure you're getting that compliance right. And my team have been excellent in helping clients do that. And I think you need to avoid making payroll mistakes during this COVID-19. And if there's one thing that we're starting to see now is mistakes being made. And Mark, I just want you to do the quick math on this. So we've got a client that's got 65 staff. They believe they weren't eligible for the JobKeeper, but the payroll company that they outsourced to backpaid everyone back to the 1st of April, thinking they would be eligible. That's created an absolute nightmare. So I think the client's in excess of about 30 grand on top of his normal payroll that got back paid. So how would you recover that?
Very, very difficult. You'd be recovering that from the payroll company who incorrectly processed your payroll. So it's a matter of getting that right, because when you qualify for JobKeeper, you qualify from the period that your business has suffered. Okay, so if those are suffered during the month of March, we're eligible to receive the JobKeeper payment for the first fortnight, and that first fortnight happened to end on the 30th of March. So the actual cost to your client that suffered this with the 65 employees could be to the extent of $97,500, Colin.
Yeah, so it goes back to my
It's
point
huge.
that I'm trying to really push it out there is just making sure you're getting that right advice. Yeah,
and
then
making sure you got the right employees as well. Sorry to interrupt you. I totally agree with getting your HR right, because if you don't have the right start dates and you don't have the right information and you don't have a HR system that gives you the right information to then do your calculations, you are in deep shit.
Yep,
Absolutely.
100%. I think that's again, and again, there's a bit of confusion around, the obligations around staff wages, so, and I know you're going to get into it a bit later, but things like, and superannuation, so if I'm doing JobKeeper, do I have to pay super on, if I've got somebody who's working, for an example, they're benefiting from, so they're actually getting paid more through the JobKeeper. Do I need to pay superannuation on that? So again, there's some questions out there that again, seeking that advice is really, really important. And I think you need to think about, how you're going to get your employees back on track as they return this post-COVID-19. So again, a lot of people have been in, damage control, but, we want to see, this whole webinar is all about, post-COVID-19 getting back on track. So how are you going to re-induct your staff? How are you going to re-energize your staff? How are you going to make sure they're okay, if I could say, mentally? And again, and doing things like, as we know that a lot of companies sent their computer hardware equipment back to the person's home. They're going to bring that back to work. So how are we going to make sure that everything's set up and ready to go, so there's no issues there? So I hope
disruption.
Hope there's no disruption. So why you must think differently to create new opportunities? Well, for me, I think you need to focus on what your customers want now. And I did a webinar the week before, which was all around focusing on customers and what you need to do to stay on board with them. And that was a huge successful webinar. And for those of you who are viewing, all of our past 6 webinars that we've done through Survive and Thrive campaign, all the recordings and everything's there. You can watch it via YouTube off our website. You may need to think about, to park some of your products and services until the time is right. And that's something that we've done in our business. We realize I do a lot of professional sales training, management training, that's all, face-to-face, normally in either a client's premises, or it's done, which my favorite place is the Hyatt in Essendon Fields, or up in Sydney at a location up there. So I think, look, it's really important to make sure that, well, okay, maybe you need to park some of your products and start focusing on what customers need right now. I think you need to think differently with your products and services that you can bring to your market. And I know, Mark, you're going to talk about that a bit later. But what's some products and services? What is in demand? And again, right now, the government grant that's with the City of Moonee Valley, we're certainly looking at it from a point, how do I get some of my training programs online, which I think is a good opportunity. And I think you need to think about how you're going to market your products and services to educate your potential customers. And I did a webinar with, one of our clients that we share, Mark, which is Business Systems Online, or BSO Digital, as they are known of today. So how are you going to get your website going, your social media going, and other platforms that you need to get going? And then I think, to me, it's really, really important look about, what you used to do well. So we've got to start thinking, what do we used to do well, and how do we then bring that into a product or a service and get it online and get it out there? Because we're definitely going into a digital world. And for those who do know some of the work that we do at Key Business Advisors, we do look after a hell of a lot of Telstra retail stores and Telstra technology business centres. And I think one of the things that we do see, one of the things that's happening right at the moment, is these guys are moving quite a fair bit of product where people are buying product because of everyone's got to be in a digital world. Anyway, anything you want to add to that, Mark?
No, not at all. I'll cover off on a bit in just a moment.
Yeah, I think that's enough for me. So let's go to you, Mark. So using your accountant to help identify better income streams. So Mark, off you go. I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Thank you. All right. COVID has caused us to, we're making history, right? There's no two questions about it. We are history in the making. And people are going to look back in many, many, many years to come, and compare us to something that they may go through. So we are creating history, and what we're also creating is something called the new normal. Now, I still don't know what the new normal is going to look like for my business. I can take a guess and think, well, okay, maybe I don't need as much office space, or maybe I need more. I don't know. But the new normal for you is going to be different to the new normal of somebody else. So one thing you need to really think about is, what did your business really look like before COVID-19? And start thinking more seriously about, what does it need to look like? What does your business really need to look like? So you look at all these restaurants. Now, the hospitality and the health and beauty were the first to be affected. Is that right, Cole? They were probably the
100%.
most, the first ones that copped it the most. So restaurants got told to close completely. And restaurants may not have had takeaway facilities. Now they've reinvented themselves and brought out a takeaway function. Now, I was talking to a couple of the local ones only a couple of weeks ago while I was waiting for some takeaway to take home to my family, and they're absolutely being hammered with takeaway, the good ones, right? There's some there that are not doing too well because they probably weren't doing too well to start with. But what they're doing is they're creating this takeaway regime, which is now going to even continue on post-COVID. They will keep doing it because people are expecting it. So what they've just done is created the new normal for them. Those in health and beauty, unfortunately, were a little bit different because it's a bit difficult to do a takeaway massage or a takeaway laser treatment or something like that. But they are going to have to redefine themselves when their bans are lifted. So I urge you to start creating and looking at what the new normal is going to look like for your business. And that's going to mean having to take a hard look at what your business was like before COVID. What were, and Colin, you mentioned earlier, you got to look at what did work well, what's worked well in your business that's going to work well going into the future as well. Yeah, and I think that's important.
I can give you a good example of that. I mean, our office is in Buckley Street, Essendon. I love the North Essendon strip of shops, and there are 3 coffee shops down there. And I can tell you that there's one particular business owner that's always out the front of his coffee shop, and he's always talking to his customers, and he's always making sure everything's okay. And on Friday, I went down there and for a lunch. So every Friday I shout lunch, and as I went down there, you could see the 3 coffee shops, and one's got 1 or 2 people out the front, one's got 1 person at the front, and and I'll say the name, I don't care, it's friends of ours, Godfrey down there, he's got a dozen people out the front there, and it's just the queue just keeps going, and I think he's done a brilliant job. So he's always done that, and I think what he's done more so now is he's accelerated that more so to let customers know that we're here to help. What do you want to eat? And I don't know. When I'm talking to him, he seems to be going okay, and I take my hat off to him for following on what he's done well, thinking a little bit different, and what does the new norm look like? He's always done that, but he's doing it more so now with this COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're spot on with that. I'll give you another good example of that was Ali down at Dandan's in Moody Pond Central. Now, Ali was actually featured on the news about 4 weeks ago, because what he found was that people were going in there and buying a coffee for themselves, but also paying it forward and buying a coffee for somebody else. And what he did is he created this little post-it note thing, and you fill out a post-it note and you're offering a free coffee to someone. So if I go in there, I'll buy 2 or 3 coffees. 1 I'll take with me, and 2 will be stickers that I put on his wall. So somebody who's a bit less fortunate than us might be able to go in there and grab a free coffee. So those who need can take one off the wall. And Ali was always there. Just going on to a bit like about Godfrey at friends of ours, Ali is always there asking what his customers want. He's got all the tradesmen in the area, and he knows what they want for lunch, but what more do they want now that they have to have takeaway? So that's really, really important. And that goes on to this next point where you're saying about re-establishing your business. This has led on really, really well, that you got to think outside the box. Yeah, no more can you keep doing what you were doing before. You got to look at the definition of impossible, where, or the definition of insanity, I should say, where you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're expecting a different result. That ain't going to happen. right? You've now got to think outside the box within your business and work out what it is that you can do to reinvent yourself after COVID-19. And if you're not thinking about that now, you're going to be in real big trouble later on. And I can go back and give you an example of a couple of restaurants in South Yarra that never, ever, ever did takeaway. They were fine dining restaurants, they were dine-in only, and come government closure, they shut. That's all. They had to close. Now, these two boys that own the restaurants, being Cozzy and Cucinetta in South Yarra, they ran a magnificent business before COVID. They closed. Now, what they ended up doing was taking our advice and starting a takeaway function out of one restaurant. The first thing they did was ask their customers, if we did a takeaway, would you come and buy from us? And they did that on social media. They were blown over by the amount of results they got. So they started thinking, well, okay, we never did takeaway before. Now we need to start doing it. Thinking outside the box. Another one, and I know we're going on to case studies in a minute, but another guy was supplying. So Alec was supplying fruit and veg and fresh produce to these restaurants. When they closed, he had access to all this fresh fruit and produce that he wasn't selling to anyone. So straight away, he got his website redone and started online deliveries. And I'm getting stuff delivered to my home every Friday morning. I order on Thursday night, and by Friday, it's there. And it's amazing quality. I've never seen such good fresh produce, right? So think outside the box. What do you need to do differently in your business to help your customers? And if you don't know what that is, ask your customers. Run a survey. Run a survey from your team. You know, get a satisfaction survey done or get something done. Ask your customers on social media, what do they expect from you? What do they want from you once all this COVID pandemic is over? Now, Colin, I think you had a couple of good examples with what your clients have done too. Do you want to run through those?
Well, I think I'll talk about my business. I think what we did with my business is 8 weeks ago, we put the whole team together and did exactly that. We did a massive brainstorming session on what we could do. And that's how we come up with the Survive and Thrive campaign. And then, you know, you talk to your customers. So I rang all my customers. I mean, Mark, I had $50,000 worth of sales training and management training, and I do a lot of emerging leaders workshops as well. So all that got put on hold. So, you know, I asked the question, you know, do you want me to get it online? And the answer was no, because the feedback that I got is we want it more interactive, we want it face to face. It might mean that we might need to do things differently, having a bit more space between everyone when we're doing it. But pretty much what we did is we parked the professional training that we do until such time. And I thought, well, okay, it was suggested that maybe we get our How to Manage and Motivate workshop into an online program and a sales training program into a workshop, which we're in the process of doing. And I think, you know, the HR team throughout this whole COVID-19 have been doing brilliantly. They've been working, you know, I know they've been working from, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night, even answering calls on weekends for our clients, because, that's what's accelerated in our business. So one part's parked and the other part is accelerated. And I guess the business advice and stuff that I've been doing, that's continued on. But I think, what's happened, during this, 6-week period, these Survive and Thrive webinars that I've been doing and putting ourselves out there is creating opportunities that I've never thought about before. So I think, again, that's been a real good thing. And I had a client who actually rang me last week and said, Colin, you've done so much training with my team. They're flat, they're demotivated. We want you. So this client said to me, I want to book 10 hours of your time in Zoom meetings to go and talk to each one of my team, 15-minute intervals. How much is it going to cost me? Now, I said to him, I don't know, what do you think? Because normally this is what I charge when I go face to face. He gave me a price, we agreed on it, and he's paid me before I've even invoiced him, and I've started that journey. So I think, again, re-establishing your business, I think your customers are the ones that can actually generate teach you the path of where to go, and your staff. So I think, it's taking those ideas, and I think, one of the things that I am really big on is a lot of companies have great ideas, but no one holds them accountable to implement them, which we'll lead into in a bit later. So that's what we've done, and it's working really, really well. I feel like it's Groundhog Day every day, no different to every other business owner out there, but I'm absolutely, pumped and motivated that, and I think, Mark, one of the things that we saw big time with clients out there that started to suffer. The ones that had really good mission, vision, and values and a great culture within their business, they're going well. The ones that didn't, they're struggling a little bit, and there's been a bit of to and fro, and oh, I'm entitled to this, or I don't want to do this, or that's not part of my job. So I think a bit of that's actually happened. What about MKS Group? Tell us about, you know, what you guys did.
Well, we actually started this work from home before we even had to. We could read the writing on the wall. We knew it was coming, and quite honestly, we didn't have to. We've got plenty of room in our office, so we could all have stayed working here. But because we all have interaction with our elderly parents or someone like that, I personally thought, and my business partner Michael thought, the best thing to do is that we just go and work from home for the safety of ourselves, our team, and our families. And it was easy for us because we're all cloud-based. There is not one thing that we don't have in our business that is cloud-based. So we were able to pick up our laptops. Some people grabbed a screen under their arms and off they went home, set up their computers, their internet, and we helped some people out with a couple of extra screens that they may have needed. And it was absolutely magnificent. So off we went, work from home. That created a need for us to do things a little bit differently, because we run things like Xero training. We have training sessions that we teach people how to use Xero. We can't do that face to face, and we probably still won't be able to do that face to face in the coming weeks or months, maybe even a year. We don't know. We'll find out on May the 11th. So for our business, the biggest thing that we've had to do is resort to going online. Now it's going to be online training, number one. So we can do online training for Xero for anybody that needs it. We can do online business planning and one-page plans, and we'll talk a bit more about that later on as well. We can do, help people with anything they need done. We are now doing online. We've got the Zoom facilities. Clients are loving it. Some of them have never used Zoom, and some don't want to be on camera. Fine, turn your camera off. It's quite easy. You click one button and the camera's off. Yeah. So
I've got to say, that's one thing. We've all been coaches on teaching people on how to use Zoom. That's for sure.
Zoom, GoToMeeting, and all those. There's another one called Blue Jeans out there as well, which I know my wife's using for her teaching. So there's a lot of things that we've had to do, and that is to go and reinvent yourself and help our clients to reinvent themselves too. It's not just us. It's helping our clients. And we take great pride in what we've done in helping our clients going on. So another thing that I can really stress is an important thing that needs to be done by every business owner is take a look at what your competition are doing. Now, post-COVID-19, I've got a really, really, really strong feeling that there's going to be a lot less competition around. There'll be a lot less businesses around. I know there's been a lot of businesses that have closed up. So you need to be out there looking at what your competitors are doing. What were they doing before COVID? What are they doing now that you may not be doing that you need to start doing? So find out if these people are still actually in business. Go through your main competitors. And I know our own marketing people, Nelson O'Neill, are always looking at what our competitors are doing. We're getting competitor analysis done every single month. There isn't a month that goes by that we don't get a report to show what we're doing compared to our competitors from a marketing perspective. Yeah. So we have not stopped any marketing. We've continued our marketing throughout this entire COVID-19 pandemic. We've been seeing what our competitors are doing. Some of them aren't even around anymore. We took on a new client a couple of weeks ago whose accountant didn't even have a website. I don't even know how these people can work from home without a website, because that probably means they're not even cloud-based. They've probably got everything on the server. So you need to look at what your competitors are doing, evaluate that, and see what you can do in your business to be better. You need to be that one step better. Have that just a single 1 point of difference between you and your neighbor, and that will help you in your business going forward.
Oh, yeah, 100% right on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's time to look at expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you talk about on the marketing, I think, we've upped our marketing more so now than ever before.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, and you need to crank that up. If you were doing it before, you do it now. Yeah, and you've got to keep doing it. Now, it might be time to even look and see if any of your competitors want to sell their business to you, because they may want to just get out. They just might not be able to cope with the change that's going on. They may not be able to cope with, during COVID-19, let alone post, because come post COVID-19, they're going to have to re-establish themselves too, get back into marketing. If they were doing any, if they weren't doing any marketing, well, they probably still won't be doing any. So their business won't be around. So it might be time to look at potentially offering a different service, expanding the services that you currently did, like these restaurants that were doing dine-in and now that are just doing takeaway. People might still want all this takeaway. So they've got to keep doing it. And they may not have the facilities to do that. The kitchens might not be big enough or equipped to do dine-in and takeaway. It's a big job. You talk to any restaurant owner that's doing takeaway, it is a massive job keeping track of Uber Eats and Menu Log and all those different outlets that you can order your food from. If you're going to continue that going forward and have people sitting in your restaurant, you need to change the way you've been running your business. Yeah, and that's very, very, very important.
You're 100% right. Let's have a look at topic 3, which is around understanding better initiatives that can help you rebuild your business. So Mark, again, you're very big on this, and rebuild or refocus is a key word that you've used with some of your past webinars that I've seen and posts you put out on social media.
One thing I did, I saw a guy that I follow on social media, is actually a friend of mine, Keith Abraham. He put out something which really got my attention about a month ago. And it was about not losing focus and potentially losing the focus you've had, but refocusing on your own business. So I think come COVID-19, sometimes we tend to think, well, that's just an excuse. Yeah, that's a good excuse for sitting back and just waiting for it all to stop. And let's collect what we can from the government. Let's get this JobKeeper. We'll get our cash flow boost. But use this time wisely. Use this time to refocus on your business and get more in tune working on your business. Now, you look at the sign behind Colin there, which says taking your business from good to great. Yeah, that's what key business advisors do. So if you haven't used the services of someone to help you expand your business and expand your services, now's the time. Refocus on what you need to be doing and where you need to be going. If you can't take your business from good to great yourself, give Colin a call, get some help. Him and his team can help you with that, whether it's on a HR or on the business side. If you don't have budgets, like seriously, if you haven't set budgets and cash flow forecasts in your business and you haven't spoken to your accountant or your accountant doesn't want to do it, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to talk you through that. But you need a plan. You need to know what you're going to be doing in your business, where the money's going to come from, where your income's going to be generated from, and set some budgets and cash flow forecasts at least for the next 12 months. Don't think on May 11, the government's going to say, oh, that's it, we're all free, we can go back to doing what we were doing. I was talking to a client this morning and we were talking about whether she buys a property or whether she doesn't. And she said, listen, I work in science. I know we're going to have a second round of this. Now, it's hearsay evidence. I've got nothing more than her words to say that we need to be careful. So what I'm saying is that we need to plan worst case scenario, what your business is going to look like in the coming months, so the next 90 days and the next 12 months as well. So I can't stress that enough. And tax planning, seriously, if you've never had that done, that will be the one single most important meeting you have with your accountant in the next couple of weeks. It's got to be in the next 4 weeks at least. Tax planning, to know that you've actually been able to absorb all of those government incentives that are out there at the moment. And that will all come out in tax planning. Yep. And I know, we do it with Colin's business and we even do it with our own. We tax plan our own business as well. So it's a matter of just, making sure you got all your housekeeping in order And that, I'm stressing as much as I possibly can, is the single most important meeting that you're going to have with your accountant going forward.
Mate, I know you're going to say it a bit later on, so I know it's in one of the slides, but if you, what's that saying? If you fail to plan, then you
plan to fail.
And I think, again, one of the most exciting things that I love about working with you guys is that tax planning time and setting the budgets for the following year. And I think, like right now, you know, our budgets are nowhere near where they want to be. We want them to be because of this COVID-19. I think it's about, you know, that realignment, that refocus of what does the next 12 months look like. Mark, there are companies out there that are getting the job keeper, and again, I go back to the importance of getting the advice, because the last thing you want to do is get it and then have to pay it back. But if I've got it, then am I spending the money wisely that's going to give me the best returns for my business? You know, so yes, it's going to help with my wages, but if I've got a bit of surplus cash there, what do I do with it?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly right.
Let's go with this maximising the government grants. And again, we've spoken before about the City of Moonee Valley.
Yeah, exactly right. So the important thing, Colin, is that there's a number of things that are available to all businesses at the moment. And if, you know, this is going to help you post COVID-19. Now, the cash flow boost was in stimulus package number 1 and the revised package number 2 that the government announced back early March. That's going to be available to us now. This payment's already flowing through now for clients, and they're going to keep flowing through for a number of months to come. So it's the government knows this is not a one-off thing that we can fix now and businesses are back on track. It's not a miraculous magic wand that's going to change our businesses, but it's going to help our businesses, and that's what we need to focus on. So making sure that we've maximised our opportunity with the government grants. Make sure we've got our JobKeeper applications in, and let's make sure we're keeping all of our reporting obligations for JobKeeper. It's not just a matter of putting in an application and, oh yeah, we'll just sit back and now, you know, $1,500 a week per employer starts to flow in. It's not that simple. Over the weekend, things changed again. The government's now put more reporting down for us to do. So there's a lot of reporting that needs to get done. State government grants, I spoke earlier about that. Sorry, I spoke about the local ones, but the state government grant, there's a support fund that's out there. There's 10 grand available for those that have got less than 650K in wages, which means you're not paying payroll tax. So if you're under 650K, there's 10,000 bucks out there for the grabbing. Yeah, if you don't know about it, get in touch with me and I'll point you in the right direction. The local council grants, so I know what Moonee Valley are doing. I know City of Hume are doing it as well, and they're also promoting to keep it local. So let's keep the money local. So if I can get a government grant to help my business get back on track with getting my HR compliance in order, I'll give it to Colin. We're both in the City of Moonee Valley. So BSO Digital, if I'm going to get my website upgraded, which I am, you know, Jason and Janelle and the team there will be doing it. So try and keep it local, keep your economies going, keep your communities pumped up. Obviously, if you need services and it can't be done locally, well, I'm sure the council will approve it otherwise, but let's make sure that you're actually sitting down and you're focused and you're looking at all these packages that are available to you, and it's not ripping anybody off. You're only going to get what your business is entitled to receive. So let's not try and manipulate systems. Let's not try and manipulate things to get the grants. Let's just make sure that we can apply for something that our business is entitled to help us post-COVID-19, because that's when you're going to need the help, right? The doors will open again and the money will start to flow back into our businesses, but it's not going to come at the rapid rate that it was pre-COVID. Yeah. Colin, what do you got to add to that?
I think the biggest thing for me is, you know, what's going to make me happy is seeing businesses employ, because, you know, there's so many people out there that are unemployed. And I think if we, and look, I'm very proud that in our business, I mentioned it in another webinar, 60% of our staff actually live local, which I'm very proud of, which I think is fantastic. Absolutely. So I think, you know, one thing, you know, we get these grants, we get these incentives. It is about reinvesting it back into your business to get the business moving. And you talked about taking out, competition. There's opportunities to do that. But I think, if we've got 2 job ads ready to go. We're just, what's the word? We're really keen to put on 2 more people in our business. We just need a bit more support, and we just want them, watching the market. So we're proactive and ready to go. And I think, that's the opportunity that sits in front of a lot of businesses out there. And then, and obviously that leads us into, you've got to have the cash flow to do it.
That's right.
This is a good segue, Mark.
We're
doing well.
So,
yeah.
Last Thursday, I ran a whole webinar on accounts receivable, and that's available. I'm sure Colin's got the link, or you can find that on our YouTube channel and our website. It's all over the place. The council has sent it out as well, and it's all about just having a bit of empathy and talking to your customers, find out what they're going through, and try and help each other through this time, because we all need each other at the moment. Yeah, we all need to help each other. So the quicker we can get our accounts receivable collected, the quicker we can pay our people and keep everything happening at the same time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that now, but if anybody wants the link, Colin, I'm happy for you to forward that on to everybody.
Yep.
And maintaining relationships, I really can't stress that enough. Keep your relationships up, talk to your customers, find out what they're going through, try and help each other out. That's what it's all about. And if you can't pay your suppliers at the moment, give them a call. They would appreciate knowing that you're still thinking, or knowing that you're acknowledging you've got a debt to them and you've got to pay them, and have a think and talk about it, right? That's the best way to get through it. And it's also okay at the moment to keep selling. There's no law against that. We can keep selling. If you find that your customer have got a problem and you can solve that problem for them by selling to them, I think they'd be very grateful for it. Right now, you look at Colin. He's a master of sales coaching. Yeah, I'm pumping his trumpet right now, but I have never seen someone be able to sell and teach someone how to sell like Colin. So if you've got some people, and there's an idea for a government grant. Get some local council grants on helping your team upsell. Yeah. So Colin is probably, him and his team can train your staff and your own team on upselling or selling the best way to your clients. So if you're not educated in that, now's the time to do it. And let's get some government grants to help us do that. I know I pumped you up there, but I know you're very passionate, and you've been out there training, and I've seen you in action. I've seen you rip off your polo top and put your client's polo top on there and go out and sell better than their own staff, right? I've seen that happen.
I think that's one of my points of difference. Is one of the things I love doing is rolling my sleeves up and getting my hands dirty and getting out on the road with the guys and getting in action. Yep. So the only way you can find out how good sales are is to go out there and do it with the people you've trained. And I definitely love mystery shopping a business before I actually go and do the training. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look at topic 4, and I know we're running a little bit behind, but I think this is really interactive, Mark, and I can't tell you the value of doing 2 people on a webinar as opposed to 1. It really does demonstrate.
Yeah, I know we're a little bit over time, but we'll go through this as best as we can. But don't let COVID-19 be the excuse to be distracted from your business. Yeah, I had a client in this morning who came in with a suitcase full of paperwork, and I said to her, "Come on, now's the time to get yourself electronic. Let's get yourself cloud focused." "Oh no, with COVID, we're a bit busy." I said, "Well, you're not, because you're working from home, so you got plenty of time to start focusing on what you need to do." So that's one thing. Second thing is, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So get some planning done. Now is the time to spend working on your business, because you can't be working in it. Yeah, I know you got to keep doing what you're doing, but get out of your comfort zone, stretch yourself out a little bit, talk to people, get some help, get some work done on your business. That's what's going to help you get through this pandemic.
And I think, Mark, your one-page plan is all about definitely, what's the next 90 days? Is that right? It's really focused on that, like
90 days.
Yep. Yeah.
90, 120, and 12 months.
Yeah. And I think, right now, like a lot of people don't know what the next 90 days look like. And I think we're putting something I always think that if you brainstorm and put something on a piece of paper and turn it from something that's on a piece of paper and make it live, then you'll execute it, which is part of what you're talking about in that planning. And
exactly.
I definitely recommend that.
And just on part of the planning too, I mean, look at, I didn't mention earlier, but if you've got a business and you've got 10 employees, and getting that job keeper right with 10 employees over the 13 fortnights that you're eligible, that's $195,000. Now that can be brought up during this planning process. So if you think you haven't qualified and we can find that you have qualified, that's 195 grand. That's a lot of money over a 13 fortnight period. And that's all part of the planning process. What have we got on? Focus.
Focus on today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Focus on what's going on around you. Maintain your focus. Yeah. Don't lose track of what's going on. You need to keep so close to your business, so close to your customers, and so close to the action that's going on around you, not just in your own little insular environment. You need to know what your team are doing if they're working from home. Talk to them on a regular basis. Make sure you've got them focused as well, because if you're down in the dumps and you're feeling all lousy and lethargic and you're talking to someone, they're going to feel the same way. So show up with a bit of excitement in your life, show up with a bit of enthusiasm, and your whole team will thrive from that. I know myself, when I'm feeling a bit down at the dumps, I give Colin a call. He sort of peps me up a little bit, and I get all energized after talking to him, because he's the one who's going to tell me, pull your head in, get back in shape, and get your business happening.
Oh, let's face it, we're not in good times at the moment, and we all need. For me, for me, the number one thing for me to motivate myself is to ring people that I know that are positive and I can bounce off and feed off, and I think that takes it to you just got to make it happen, and we can sit back and complain, but that's not going to achieve anything. We've just got to. I always say, if you got to have a business, you need to have two things. One is sheer determination, and the other one is resilience. How much can you take? Yep. And right now, a lot of us have been run through the mill, and it's pressure, and you just got to keep fighting, and you need people around you to keep fighting. So in your comments about making tomorrow happen, I totally agree that that is what it's all about. Mark, you've been fantastic. I'm going to finish off with topic 5 because I'm just a bit wary of time, but why you must communicate with your team of advisors. Now, this is about getting the right advice that I talked about before, which I think is really, really important. And whether it be, us or whoever your network is, as long as it's right, that's what's most important. And I think, in times like today, you need to move quickly. You just cannot sit back and wait. You've got to just move quickly, and you've got to get onto it right away. And I think, you need to make good decisions now for the benefit of your business, as life is going to start returning back to some sort of normality, but it will be different. And I think you need to invest, I definitely believe you need to invest in thinking, what is needed to increase your business profits to get you back on top. And again, I'm a professional business, Mark, you're a professional business. We work with one another very closely, but we also use outside industry experts for different things, because we don't know it all. And I think it's really, really important that you tap into that network. It's getting out of your comfort zone and going for it. And what's interesting is when I'm talking to a lot of business owners, we're still working Saturdays and Sundays at the moment. We're working 7 days a week. I think I had my first Saturday off on Saturday in about 7 weeks. So I'm just exhausted. So I think you've got to keep pushing away, and you've got to keep doing it, and you just got to have that mindset of thinking differently. I think is really, really important. I think seeking the right advice, and that's what I started off with, and that's why I wanted to do this webinar with you, Mark, is because tapping into industry experts, I believe, will be a game changer. And I really love the fact that City of Moonee Valley are wanting that to happen with local businesses, with supporting one another, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You know what? You need to find good industry experts that can help you grow, and you know what? They've got to be a good fit for your business. Mark or myself may not be a good fit for your business, and that's okay. There are other professionals out there that might be. I think it's important that you to make sure that happens. And I think you also need, for me, I'm good in some areas of my business and I'm not in others. So what I'm not good at, I go and outsource. And I think, what was Bill Gates, take my top 10 men out of my business and I won't have a business. And I think that's what this is about. And now's the time to do things where you source those industry experts. If you've ever had things in place, or you've got to, you've got another set of eyes that are coming in from a different perspective. And I really love that because I value that. And I do that for a living. I go out to people's businesses. I've got another set of eyes on how to do things, especially around generating more revenue, I think is what they want me to do. And I love doing it. And I get huge satisfaction when I see, I'm a results driven person, when I see that happen.
Yeah.
You know, you need to think about what's, think about, who holds you accountable. And I think that's the thing about, Mark, you do the 90-day business plan and the 120 and so on. I do a lot of strategic planning with our customers around sales, marketing, people, making sure that we've got the right people on the bus and going the right direction. But who holds you accountable to make sure this happens? And again, that's what a coach is all about. AFL players, tennis players, all the sporting worlds, they have a coach for a reason. They have somebody who holds them accountable. That's for a reason. And I think in business, yes, you can do it yourself, but the moment you engage somebody to help you, then all of a sudden, you hold them accountable. It's a two-way street because you want to see the result from the money that you're putting through. So sometimes it's not about what you know, and I think it's about who you know, and industry experts have a great network. And I've got a beautiful example where I'm working with a client. I've introduced him to a lawyer firm, and this lawyer firm's given him a referral, and the referral is an absolutely beauty. It's like a $250,000 a year game changer for his business. So I think it's really important that people do that. So more than now, you need to be more agile than ever, and I think it's seeking the right advice is what it's all about. But I just want you to think about this: if you had an advisory board in your business, and these people, what would your business look like with a team of experts who can offer you expert advice in their field to help grow your business? And just think about what it would be like if you had an accountant that worked and advised you on P&L, how to grow your business, and a lawyer to minimise your risk. And I think, and a HR expert that helps you with your compliance and your people, and a marketing company that can help you with website design and social media, and a sales expert that can help you grow more sales. Now, we've all got that, but for me, I'm really passionate about getting everyone on the same page, working together as a team. So these industry experts working together as a team. And I think if that happened, then your business can grow like there's no tomorrow.
I couldn't stress that enough, Cole.
Yeah, I'm just a bit mindful 100%. About time. But if people want any questions, they want to contact us, below is our information on how to get hold of us. We do have a couple of questions come through. So, and what we'll do is I'll go through those questions in a minute, which I think is to try and help them. For more information about our companies, this is where we are. This is how to contact us, and these are our websites. If you're liking our Survive and Thrive campaign, then why not jump on board and go for it? So I've got a question here, Mark. It's from somebody. How should we look at rent or office space? With teams now working remotely from home. They may be an opportunity to reduce the amount of office space or office rent. So who should they speak to about that? What would be your opinion?
Well, that again comes into the planning stage. Now, you've got to think of what your new normal is going to look like. Now, I know with myself, we've got a massive office and there's about 14 of us in the office. Now, do we still need all this extra space if we're going to be doing a lot more online? So I said before, I don't know what my new normal is going to look like, and I don't think anybody knows what their new normal is going to look like, but that's all part of the planning. And I wouldn't make any rash decisions right now about reducing your office space, right? What I would do is start thinking about how are your people working from home? How are they coping with working from home? And is it something that you can have maybe a reduced area and half your business comes in 1 week and the other half, and they keep alternating potentially? So there's a lot of different things to think about.
I think if I was doing some tax planning and I'm looking at my rent and everything like that, that would be a really good opportunity too. Okay, I'm just a bit wary of time, but it's been a really good webinar. I've just absolutely loved it, Mark. Our next webinar is I'm doing one on building a sales pipeline, how to get that back into your business. And I think, they're my key topics below. Love you to register. And, we had 108 people on our webinar today. And of the webinar, we've had 50% of them on the webinar, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Always remember to protect yourself and your family, because we still want to stay safe. We want to get back to work. And we want to get this economy going again, because we're all keen for it. So thank you very much, Mark, again. It's always a pleasure to do something with you. We are both very passionate business owners. We both support one another, and we don't just support one another. We support all of our businesses. I really love what I do. I really appreciate and value the relationship that we've got. And I think in today's world, you know, you need to surround yourself with people that are positive, that can get you through. So thanks, Mark, and that concludes our webinar.
And thank you, Colin. Thanks very much for having us on today. And everyone, just get out there, stay safe, and you know, take note of what's been shared with you today. You know, we're giving up our time to share this with you, and I think it's important that you take away something, and that is the plan. Yeah, that's the most important thing, apart from staying safe. But thank you, Colin. Been a pleasure working with you.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.